Let's go to the phone right now and bring in Alex Kennedy. He is the managing editor for Basketball Insiders. We're going to talk some free agency with Alex. Alex, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure. Alex, we just got done discussing the fact that the Knicks have been pretty much shut out in free agency. All right, maybe not shut out. They got Lopez, they got Aaron Aflalo, but they were shut out as far as big names in free agency, whereas teams like San Antonio and Milwaukee, small market teams, are getting guys like Monroe and LaMarcus Aldridge. Is the NBA just different from other pro sports because A, the money is so big, and B, you can make a lot of money playing in small markets now?
Yeah, I think so. I think one thing we've seen in recent years is that you don't have to be in a big market to make a lot of endorsement money and be a big celebrity. Guys like Kevin Durant have become, superstars playing in Oklahoma City. He actually has the most endorsement money and most commercials of any NBA player, and he's obviously not in a big market. I think with social media blowing up, with more games on TV, and with NBA stars that are extremely talented, becoming celebrities and showing up on TMZ and things like that, it doesn't matter what market you play in. I think a few years ago that was different. Teams like Los Angeles and New York, they used to have that advantage. They would be able to, attract those kind of free agents because they had the exposure, and you had to go be a Laker or a Knick if you wanted to be on national TV all the time and get endorsement money. But that's not the case anymore. You can go to a small market. So I think what's happening now is players are looking at the roster and seeing, what gives them the best chance to win. LaMarcus Aldridge loved the Spurs roster. He saw that, they were loaded with talent. Greg Monroe did the same in Milwaukee. He saw that they were an up-and-coming team and that they had a lot of players that complemented his game. So I think that, that big market advantage was removed, and now we saw a lot of these small market teams really winning in free agency.
Alex, I think it's pretty safe to say that most of the top free agents are gone. Clearly, LaMarcus Aldridge was the big fish, and San Antonio landed him.
LeBron James is still available.
Okay, and so is Marc Gasol.
That's true.
Okay. Handicap a 7-game series between the Spurs and the Golden State Warriors for me.
Oh, man. Well, I think we're all the winners there because that would be an amazing series. I think as of right now, I'd give the edge to the Spurs. I think it's going to be tough for a team like Golden State to, first of all, match the experience level of a team like San Antonio. And also, it's really hard to bet against Greg Popovich and Tim Duncan in a 7-game series. They're so good at making adjustments. And look, adjustments are what helped the Warriors win the finals this year. But going small and playing that style of play that the Warriors do, it's going to be tough now against a team like San Antonio that has so many big men they can throw you. They go small and have Draymond Green at center at times. Well, when you have LaMarcus Aldridge and Tim Duncan down low, it's pretty tough to do that. So, and now there's talk they may land David West, too. So, I think teams realize that the way to beat Golden State is, first of all, have a bunch of talented big men so you force them to play your style, and they can't really go small and be effective doing that. And I think also having a lot of perimeter defenders, and that's something that San Antonio has. Kawhi Leonard is arguably the best defender in the league. He was just Defensive Player of the Year. They have Danny Green, who is a great two-way player. They brought him back. I think teams are realizing that's the blueprint to beat a team like Golden State. So I would give the edge to the Spurs. I think it would be a great series, probably go the distance, probably go 7 games, but it's really hard to bet against the Spurs, especially with how scary they look now.
He's Alex Kennedy from BasketballInsiders.com. All guests brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Hey, Alex, not a whole lot of people are talking about the L.A. Lakers, but after losing out on LaMarcus Aldridge and a couple other big-name free agents, not being able to wrest DeMarcus Cousins away from the Sacramento Kings, the Lakers seem to have made a nice recovery. They signed the 6th man of the year, Lou Williams, away from Toronto. They're about to get Roy Hibbert from the Indiana Pacers, maybe light a fire under his big butt. They're getting Brandon Bass. They signed him away from the Boston Celtics in the last 24 hours. You got Kobe coming back, Julius Randle coming back, and you've got the draft pick D'Angelo Russell. Are the Lakers going to be relevant again, Alex?
Yeah, I think it'll be more relevant. It's very tough to make the playoffs in the Western Conference. I'm not sure they'll be able to crack that top 8. Portland will fall out, I think, because they've obviously lost a lot of key players. But then Oklahoma City's going to take their spot. Other teams have improved as well. So it's going to be really difficult to make the playoffs. But if everything goes right for them, they could definitely be in the mix for that 8th seed. They could be a talented team. It really depends on how their pieces fit together. You know, a lot of these guys are players that have had either monster seasons or really disappointed. Someone like Roy Hibbert has been inconsistent. You know, we've seen him dominate playoff series. He's had great seasons where he's blocking a ton of shots and doing really well. But then there's other seasons where it doesn't seem like the same Roy Hibbert shows up. Kobe Bryant, obviously, he's going to bring it if he's healthy, but there's so many questions about his health and what he can bring this season. Lou Williams is the guy that's going to help them, off the bench and bring scoring. But there are still a lot of question marks with that team. So if everything goes well, they could be very talented. They're definitely going to progress from last year because they have more veterans. But it's going to be really tough to make the playoffs. But you're right. I think you said it well. They made a good recovery. I think initially the big storyline of free agency was that they missed out on everyone. They couldn't trade for Cousins. They couldn't get LaMarcus Aldridge. They couldn't get Marc Gasol. All the guys they were targeting. And so, being able to make that trade for Hibbert, being able to bring in a few veteran contributors and possibly more moves that are coming, I think it's a good recovery for them. And at least they got some people to come in and make that team a little better.
Alex, besides local hookah shops, from what you're hearing, do any teams want Ty Lawson?
I think the Dallas Mavericks do, but the problem there is that they don't have a lot of cap room, obviously, so they'd have to make a trade. The reason that it's difficult is because they don't have any really assets either. The thing they're trying to do is try to get a trade player exception. So what they want to do is, someone like Monte Ellis, for example, send him to Indiana in a sign-in trade, so Monte would get a bigger contract. They could get a traded player exception back, and then they could trade that TPE to the Nuggets for Ty Lawson. So it's very complicated. They're in a situation because they don't have cap space that it becomes difficult to make sign-in trades. It's a bunch of CBA mumbo jumbo, things like that. But they do have interest in Lawson. They feel like he would be great there, and Lawson wants to play there. There have been reports that he prefers to go to Dallas over any other team. So if they are able to get him, then that becomes a pretty good team. You have Lawson, you have Wes Matthews, Chandler Parsons, Dirk Nowitzki, and DeAndre Jordan. But that may be a pipe dream. I'm not sure if they could actually do that. It's going to be very difficult, but that's certainly their goal. They want to create a traded player exception and pursue him. Some of their backup plans are guys like Jeremy Lin and players like that. But I do think there is some interest in Lawson. I think the feeling is that last year Lawson, he really kind of quit on the team. He didn't really play his best basketball because they weren't a very good team. But playoff Lawson, some teams believe that, when the team is better, when there's something to play for, he'll show up and, be a very good point guard. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I think he's one of the guys that could be moved. He could be traded. And Dallas is a team to watch, but others could emerge as well.
Alex, what has to happen to this Denver Nuggets franchise in order for it to be attractive to free agents, much the same way San Antonio has been attractive? Milwaukee all of a sudden is attractive to free agents. Sacramento is attractive to some free agents. What has to happen in Denver for Denver to become relevant again?
That's a great question. I mean, Emmanuel Mudiay becoming a superstar would certainly help things. I think a lot of guys like to go play with a star, and especially a star point guard. If you have a star point guard that can get other players involved, that's going to attract people. There's no question about that. Chris Paul attracted people to the Clippers. Kyrie Irving obviously was one of the reasons LeBron James wanted to go back and play there. There's been plenty of rumors about who could go join John Wall in Washington. If Emmanuel Mudiay can become a star player, that's going to really help things. I think also they could add players through trade to become better. They've done a really good job of stockpiling first-round picks and young assets. And I think that's where, you could flip some of those to get a star. And today, in the NBA, we've seen that you almost have to have a star or two in place to be able to land someone in free agency, or at least have a very good young core. I could see them going the Milwaukee route where, they already have Emmanuel Mudiay, they have Yusuf Nurkic, they have some of those young, talented guys that if they have a talented enough core, they could be Milwaukee and attract a Greg Monroe who can kind of put them over the top. But I think it's just a matter of those young guys developing and then making either smart draft picks or making good use of those draft picks in trade. I think Tim Conley has done a very good job, being able to stockpile those assets and put them in a position to be successful in the future. Also, I think Mike Malone coming in, if he has success, that will help things as well. He's known as a player's coach. DeMarcus Cousins loves him. If he does a good job, then that could make them more attractive as well. So I think they're heading in the right direction. I think that going young and trying to collect those assets was the right move. and now we'll see how it pans out over the next few years.
Well, Alex, thanks for that blueprint. We will submit that to the Cronkies over at Pepsi Center. Alex, what's your Twitter handle?
Alex Kennedy, NBA.
All right, that's easy. Alex, really appreciate your time, and he is at basketballinsiders.com. Alex Kennedy, thanks, man. All guests brought to you by Papa John's, the official sponsor of the Colorado Rockies.